Last day, we discussed some concepts in probability theory, and we continue with that one. And we will discuss only one approach in our discussion. Based on that, you can learn other approaches. And I have seen some papers in quantum physics and kinetic theory of gas, etc. Higher level of probability theory is applied there. Therefore, those who are working in that area, it is advisable to study those things, those techniques based on this. What are maybe, these are the basic concepts. Okay. Now, what is the classical definition of probability? Consider the random experiment and the corresponding sample space, and the sample space should be finite. That is important. Sample space should be finite, and the sample points are equally likely. That is also important. Equally likely means what? All the points have the same probability of getting up. Okay? Then if E is the event of our interest, then probability of E is number of points favorable for the event E divided by total number of points in the sample space. This total number of points in the sample space is coming in the denominator. That is why we make a condition that the sample space is finite. Otherwise, this will be zero for any E. Okay, that is a problem. Okay, now you should know how to find the number of events favorable to the, number of points favorable to the event E and the total number of points in the sample space. Okay, and we have done some problems, and I am sure that you can do all these things independently now. Now we will go to 3 more concepts in the probability theory, and we will go to the next one. First concept is called the conditional probability. Conditional probability. Conditional probability. I shall explain using a concept. Consider the experiment of tossing a fair die. Fair die means what? It is a true die. True die. All the faces have equal chance of being turning up. Then what's the sample space? Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5, phase 6. What is the probability of getting phase 4? Only one point is favorable to phase 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then probability of getting phase 4 is out of 6, only one point is favorable. Therefore, probability of getting phase 4 is 1 by 6. I am conducting the experiment. Then I am giving you the information that the result was an even number. The result was an even number. That information is given to you. Okay, that means what? It may be 2, it may be 4, it may be 6. What is the advantage of this information? You need not worry about 1, 3, 5. You can rule out those possibilities. Okay, then what is the probability of getting phase 4 given my information? Given my information. Okay, that is you can reduce the domain of search. You can reduce the domain of search. You need to concentrate only on 2, 4, 6. There are 3 possibilities. Out of those 3 possibilities, only one is favorable for 4. Therefore, this probability is 1 by 3. 1 by 3. Before it was 1 by 6. And definitely 1 by 3 is greater than 1 by 6. That is, even though the information is a partial information, that partial information can help you to improve the probability, of the event. Okay, given that something has happened, then what is the probability of this event? This has got wonderful applications in criminology, in science, in finance, in politics. Everywhere it has got application. Okay, and in clinical science also it has got application. Given these are the symptoms, what is the probability that the patient is affected by coronavirus? Given that these are the symptoms, what is the probability that the patient is suffering from tuberculosis, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Therefore, in general, I am not. I can speak for at least 12 hours on this topic. Okay, but we don't have that much time. I am just going through these things. So there are two events A and B. There are two events A and B is such that probability of B is greater than 0. That is important. That is important. Then probability of A given B, probability of A given B is defined as the conditional probability of the event A under the condition that the event B has happened. Under the condition that the event B has happened. What is the volume given that the temperature is between 90 degrees centigrade and 100 degrees centigrade? What is the velocity given that such and such conditions are fixed? What is the gain in weight given that the food consumed was between 100 grams and 200 grams? You can now think about hundreds of examples. Okay. Now we have to find a mathematical formula for this expression. Okay. Now you look at this. This is the event A. This is the event B. If A can happen along with B, if A can happen along with B, the point should be somewhere here. The point should be somewhere here. Is it clear? Because then only if some points in this region happens, then only A will happen. Suppose this point happens, A will not happen. In the previous example, the experiment is tossing a die. Okay, then the sample points are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 4. This is 4. This is 4. Therefore, 4 can happen. 4 can happen even only if it intersects with other event. Otherwise, it will not happen. Okay. Then, what about this one? This portion. This portion is A intersection B. This portion is A intersection B. Then the whole portion is B. Whole portion is B. Therefore, out of B, this much is favorable for A. Therefore, I am not going to derive this result. Probability of A given B is probability of A intersection B divided by probability of B, provided probability of B is greater than 0. Probability of B is greater than 0. This is called the conditional probability of A given B. From this you are getting one result. The joint occurrence of A and B. Joint occurrence of A and B. What is the probability that A and B happens together? This is probability of A given B into probability of B. Within 10 minutes, I will type this again. Okay. And similarly, you can think about probability of B given A. What is the probability that B is happening under the condition that the event A has already happened. B intersection A is A intersection B divided by probability of A. From this you are getting probability of A intersection B is probability of B given A into probability of A. This is called a multiplicative law of probability. Multiplicative law of probability. Therefore, if you know probability of A given B and PB or probability of B given A and PA, you can easily find the joint occurrence of probability of the joint occurrence of A and B. Okay, I will do 2-3 problems to make these ideas clear. Suppose in a society, there are 200 men. 200 men and 100 women. 100 women. Out of these 200 men, 100 are smokers. 100 are smokers. Out of these 100 women, 20 are smokers. 20 are smokers. Then, what is the probability that a person randomly selected is a smoker? What is the probability that a person randomly selected is a smoker? You just use classical definition of probability. There are 120 smokers and 300 people. Finished. Number of favorable cases. There are 120 cases are favorable for smokers and 300. 200 plus, 200 men plus 100 women. 300 persons are there. Now, what is the probability that a person is a smoker given that the selected person is a woman? What is the probability that a person is a smoker given that the selected person is a woman? Then you can forget about men. You can forget about men. Then what is the intersection? Women and smokers. Women and smokers, there are 20 cases favorable for that. Out of how many women? 100. 100. Now this is 1 by 5. This is 1 by 5. This is 12 by 30. That is 3, not 3. Okay. 6 by 2 by 5. 2 by 5. 2 by 5. Given that the selected person is a woman, selected person is woman, what is the probability that that person is a smoker? Now, what about this 20? This 20 is number of women smokers. Number of women smokers divided by what about this 100? Number of women. Number of women. Let me divide by this by the total population, 300. 300. What is this one? Number of women smokers by 300. Out of 300, this much number of women are smokers. Therefore, this is probability that a woman is a smoker. Probability that a woman is a smoker divided by number of women by 300. This is the probability that the selected person is a woman. Number of women, number of favorable cases by total number of cases. What is probability that a woman is a smoker? The selected person is a woman and the selected person is a smoker. Divided by probability of W. Probability of W. Okay? Then If you have some doubts, please ask me and make it clear. All these things are simple concepts. That is why I am running fast. Okay, shall we do a puzzle? Wonderful puzzles are available in probability theory. This is called Monty Hall problem. Monty Hall problem. Monty Hall puzzle. It is a very famous puzzle. Okay? There is a room. There is a room and 3 doors are there. 3 doors are there. Door 1, door 2, door 3. Behind one door, there is a beautiful car. We don't know. We don't know whether it is behind D1 or D2 or D3. We don't know that. Behind the other 2 doors, there is a goat. There is a goat. And one man is here. He knows where is the car available. Where is the car available? He knows all the details. And you are here. And you are here. And you are permitted to open any door. You are permitted to open any door. And whatever you find there, you can take. If you find a car, you can take the car. If you find a goat, you can take that goat. Is the situation clear? Is the situation clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Then what is the probability that you will get a BMW? What is the probability that you will get a BMW?
1/3.
Correct. 1/3. 1/3. And you are selecting a door. You are selecting a door. Suppose you are selecting D1. You are selecting D1. You may be knowing this. If I am repeating this, please excuse me, or you can ask me to go to the next problem. Shaheen sir, shall I continue or shall I?
Sir, please continue. We do not
Okay.
know this.
Once you fix the door, this man standing here, he knows where is the car available. Then he will open one of the other doors. He will open one of the other doors and he will show you. And he will show you the result. Definitely that will be goat because he is not happy to give his car. Okay? After seeing that result, is it advisable to change your decision or you continue with the decision? That is the question. That is the question. Is the question clear? You can select a door randomly and you can open that door and whatever you find, you can take. And you fix a door. Since the analysis is very same, since the argument is very same, for the time being, you assume that you have selected door 1. You have selected door 1. Then the other man standing there, he will open one of the other 2 doors. Okay? Then he gives you permission. If you want, you can change your selection. Is it advisable to change your selection or is it advisable to continue with the D1? That is a question. Okay? I can speak about 30 minutes on this topic, but I am not going to speak that blah, 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 blah. I will simply analyze this one. What are the situations? Okay? So yes, before that, some of you can make a wild guess. Will you please stick on your decision or will you change your decision? That is, will you change your decision means whether you will change D1 to D3 or D2 or D1 like that. Please let the students can make a wild guess. Don't worry. There are no good answers. There are no bad answers. We have only answers. Aparna, what do you say? Ashifa? Jolie?
Hello, sir.
Yeah. What is your wild guess?
Sir, I
Is it
just
advisable?
joined now only, sir.
Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry.
Okay. Sir.
What about Gregory, sir? What is your idea? There are no good answers, there are no bad answers. Don't worry, I am going to answer the question. Okay, it is advisable to change the decision. Okay, why? Look at the possibilities. I am giving all these ideas just to make your logical power, just to improve your logical power, so that in physics or in chemistry, in a science subject, we need some intuition. Okay, door 1, door 2, door 3. What are the different possibilities? Car may be here, goat may be here, goat may be here, goat may be here, car may be here, goat may be here, goat may be here, goat may be here, car may be here. Okay, suppose you select car, door 1. What is the result? The result is that you are getting a car. Okay. You have selected door 1. Remember, you have selected door 1. He knows where is the car available. Then definitely he will open door 3 only. Definitely he will open door 3 only. If he opens door 3, you are seeing a goat there. Therefore, definitely you can make the conclusion that car is not available there. Therefore, the car will be either in door 1 or in door 2. If you change your decision, surely you are also a very intelligent man. If you find that a goat is here, you will change to D2, then you are going to get, I made a mistake. Results. Result. You have selected door 1 and he is opening one of the doors, D2 and D3. And if you change your decision, you are going to get a goat. If he opens D2, you are seeing a goat there. If you change your decision from D1 to D3, and if you open D3, you will see a goat there, and you can take a goat and go. Here goat is there, and he will open D3, and if you change, naturally you will change to D2, because here there is goat, and you have seen the goat here. And if you change, you will get a car. You will get a car. You have selected door 1. Definitely he will open D2. Then you are finding a goat there. Then you will change your decision D1 to D3. Then you are getting a car. Now, there are 3 possibilities, and out of the 3, there are 2 possibilities for getting a car. The probability of getting a car is 2 by 3. Here the probability of getting BMW is only 1 by 3. Therefore, by making a change in your decision, the probability is improved to win a car. Now I give you an assignment. Suppose there are 100 doors, and In 99 doors, there are goats, and in one, and you can extend that to thousands. You can extend that to 1,000 doors. Okay. Is the logic clear?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Very good. It is a very famous puzzle in probability theory. Okay. Next concept is concept of, yeah.
നമ്മളിപ്പോ ആ 2 ഡോർ ഓപ്പൺ ചെയ്തപ്പോൾ പ്രോബബിലിറ്റി 1/2 അല്ലായിരുന്നു.
എങ്ങനെയാണ്?
പ്രോബബിലിറ്റി എന്തുകൊണ്ട് 1/2
ആയില്ല?
അല്ല, ഞാൻ വിചാരിച്ചില്ല ശരിക്കും നമുക്ക് ആ 3 ഡോർ വന്നപ്പോ 1/3 ആകുമ്പോ അതിൽ ഒരു ഡോർ പോയി പിന്നെ 1/2 പോരാ.
This probability is not changing. This probability is not changing. This is the unconditional probability of getting a BMW. Okay? Therefore, probability of getting a car is 1/3. This is the probability of getting a car if you change your decision. Understand the wording. You have selected door 1. You have selected door 1. Okay? And if you change the decision, you will get the goat. Okay, that man will open D2 or D3. He will never open D1. He will never open D1 because if he opens D1, you are finding a car and you will stick on with your decision and you will take the car. That other man is not happy with that. He will open only D2 or D3. Okay, then suppose D3 is opened. D3 is opened. Then you will change your decision. You will change the decision D2 only. You will never select D3 because behind D3 there is goat only. Okay, if you change, you will change D2. Then you will get a goat. Here goat, here goat. He will open D3 only. He will never open D2. If he opens D2, you will change D2 and you will take the car. That's a sure event. It is not a random event. Okay, you have selected D1 and after that he is opening D2. Then you have only two possibilities. Either stick on this or change D3. If you stick on this, you will get a goat. If you change, you will get a car. Therefore, if you change your decision, out of 3 cases, in 2 cases, you will get a car. Is it clear?
Sir, that out of 3 മാത്രമില്ല.
No, it is unconditional probability without any before this man opening the door. These are the possibilities after the okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Then the next one is the concept of independent events. Independent events. Independent events. Okay. Suppose you are tossing a coin. Okay. And suppose you are getting head. All right. And again you toss a coin. In the second toss, you may get head or tail. Head or tail. Okay. What is the probability of getting head in the first toss? We assume that it is a true coin, unbiased coin, fair coin. The probability of getting head is 1/2. After that, again you are tossing the coin, and what is the probability of getting head in the second toss? That is also 1/2. That is also 1/2. Therefore, the probability of getting a head in the second toss is not at all affecting the results of the first toss. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Again you toss. What is the probability of getting head? 1/2.
1/2.
Etc. etc. Here you can say the trials are independent. The trials are independent. probability of getting head in the first toss is not at all influencing the probability of getting head in the second toss, etc. etc. Another example. You consider a pack of cards. I don't know whether the students are familiar with the cards. Okay, it is a packet consisting of 52 cards of 4 types with some symbols like this. This is called club. This is a diamond. This is the famous heart symbol. And another one is spade. Another one is spade. Something like this. Mainly, there are 26 are in black lines. 26 are in black color and 26 are in red color. Okay, just a minute, please. Sorry. Okay. Suppose I am taking a card at random. I am taking a card at random. Okay. In each variety there are 13 cards. Ace, 2, 3, etc. 10, Jack, Q, King. Okay. Suppose I am taking a card at random. What is the probability that it is an ace? What is the probability that it is an ace? There are 4 aces. There are 4 aces. There are 4 aces and number of favorable cases is 4. Total 52 cards. Therefore, this is the probability of getting an ace. And I am keeping the card in the pack again. Again, I am taking a card. Then what is the probability of getting ace in the second row? As before, it is 4 by 52. Okay, now you consider another situation. I am taking a card, then probability of ace is 4 by 52. I am not putting that card back again. I am keeping that card. I am keeping the card drawn in the first draw. I am putting that card in my packet. And I am continuing the experiment. What is the probability of getting ace in the second row? Students can try to answer. What is the probability of getting ace in the second row? Please.
3 by 51.
3 by 51. All others agree with this, or you want to fight with her?
No, sir, we agree.
You agree. You agree, not we. Okay. You don't know what about others' answer. Please, others can also make A suggestion? Okay. It is not fully correct. It is partially correct. 3 by 51 if the first card drawn is an ace. If the first card drawn is an ace. I told you, that is the card drawn is put in my packet. I never told you that the card was ace. I got some cards in the first draw. That card I put in my pocket. I have not told you that it is an ace. If it is an ace, then probability of getting an ace in the second row is 4 by 51. Is it clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes. That means what? Probability of getting an ace in the second draw depends on the event of the first draw. Depends on the event of the first draw. Here, since you are putting that card back in the packet, probability of getting an ace in the second row is same as the probability of getting an ace in the first draw. Okay? Now here, getting an ace in the first draw, getting an ace in the second draw, they are independent events. Whether you get an ace in the first draw or non-ace in the first draw is not at all affecting probability of getting an ace in the second draw. But here, probability of getting an ace in the first draw, it depends on the card you have drawn in the first draw. If it is an ace, 3 by 51. It is not an ace, it is 4 by 51. Here the events are dependent events. Events are dependent events. Okay. Now the information. Okay. The information of the first draw is not at all influencing the probability of getting an ace in the second row in the case of independent events, or probability of the joint occurrence of A and B. Probability of the joint occurrence of A and B is probability of A into probability of B. If this is the case, we say that events A and B are independent. Events A and B are independent. If probability of A intersection B is equal to probability of A into probability of B, then events A and B are independent. The cases for 3, 4 events, etc., it is little bit complicated. In the case of 3 events, we have to see that 4 conditions are satisfied, etc. I am not going into the detail of that. What is the consequence of this result? Probability of A given B is, by definition, this is probability of A intersection B by probability of B, and we assume that probability of B is not equal to 0. Therefore, cancellation law is possible. Okay, otherwise it is not possible. You can cancel this and this, you are getting probability of A. In the case of independent events, the conditional probability of A given B is same as the unconditional probability of A. The unconditional probability of A. Okay? Now, the next point. We have probability of A intersection B. We have seen that this is probability of A given B into probability of B. This is same as probability of B given A into probability of A. Before 3 slides we have seen. You take these 2 things. What is that? Probability of B given A is probability of A given B into probability of B divided by probability of A. In these 2 cases, we assume that probability of A is greater than 0 and the probability of B is also greater than 0. Actually, this is a wonderful result. Okay, now hundreds of researchers are working on this problem in many fields. Okay, during the beginning of this research, there was a big fight between frequentists and Bayesian. Actually, this is Bayes' theorem. This is called a Bayes' theorem. In its simplest form. Simplest form. Okay, Bayes' theorem. Now, Bayesian inference is actually a growing section. It's a growing section in statistics. You look at this theorem. What is probability of A given B? Probability of the event happening of event A under the condition that event B has happened. What is this one? Some type of reverse probability. Probability of B given A. Okay, what is the probability that probability of getting event B given that A has happened? If you have knowledge of these three things, then you can find this probability. You can find this probability. Okay, at least you have to think about this result for 3 days. Then only you can enjoy the beauty of this result. That is, what is this one? What is this one? Probability of A given B, given that B has happened. What is the probability that A has to happen? And what about this PB and PA? They are the unconditional probability of happening A and B. Now, given that A has already happened, what is the probability that B has to happen? Okay, I shall explain this concept using a wonderful example. Okay, nowadays we are speaking about RT-PCR test, antigen test, that test, this test, etc. Okay, a blood test indicates the presence of a virus 95% of the time when the virus is actually present. Because the tests are devised by human beings, the equipments are devised by human beings, the chemicals are I don't know the term, you are mixed or something like that by human beings, etc. Therefore, naturally errors are possible. Therefore, if the virus is present in a body, the test will say that the virus is present in 95% of the cases. Now, there are 4 possibilities. There are 4 possibilities. What is the actual situation? Virus present, virus absent. Test result, virus present, virus absent. When the virus is present in our body, the test should say virus is there. Virus is there. Okay, that is called true positive. Okay, that is called true positive. That is the result of the screening test and the condition. Okay, status of the person according to gold standard. All these things are clinical terms. According to these standards, okay, the person has the condition that the virus is present in his body, and the test says that virus is present. Good condition. And virus is not there in the body, but the test says that virus is there. That is called a false positive case. False positive case. Okay? And if the virus is there and the test says that virus is not there, that is an error. That's an error. False negative. Virus is not there and the test says that virus is not there. Therefore, it is an error-free result. Therefore, it is called a true negative. True negative. Nowadays, you might have read these type of terms in newspapers. That test has got sensitivity, that specificity, that. Okay, so many things you have seen. So that is why I have taken this example so that you can easily understand the concept. Okay? You can easily understand the concept. Okay. Therefore, virus is present and virus is present. Therefore, this is called a true positive. True positive. Okay? Virus is present, but the result says that virus is absent. It is called a false negative. Virus is not there, but the test says that virus is present. This is called a false positive. Virus is not there, virus is not there, true negative. Errors are errors. Suppose I am having virus in my body and the test says that you are free from virus, then I may mingle with all others. Then silently I may spread the virus to others also. That's a dangerous thing. Suppose I don't have virus and the test says that virus is there. If my mental strength is not that much powerful, at that time itself, I may have some heart attack. Both are errors. Both are errors. And that all those errors have significant implications also. Okay? Therefore, suppose you have taken results. You have taken test for A plus B plus C plus D persons. Okay? And A is coming here, B is coming here, C is coming here, D is coming here. Okay? And there are total of A plus C positively affected persons and B plus D negatively affected persons. Then what is the true positive, probability of true positive? That is A by A plus C. Yes or no? Out of A plus C persons who are affected by the virus, the test says that only A are affected. Therefore, that ratio, A by A plus C, okay, A plus A by A plus A by A plus B, this is called the sensitivity of the test. Sensitivity of the test. Okay, if C is very close to 0, if C is 0, A by A is 1. But practically it is impossible. Okay, therefore this A by A plus C should be very close to 1. Very close to 1. Okay. Okay. And specificity means the other one. Both are important. Both are important for out of B plus D. Out of B plus D negative cases, only D are correctly diagnosed. Therefore, D by B plus D, this is defined as specificity. Specificity. Okay. Now, you can take some articles, odds ratio, sensitivity, specificity, etc. You can see wonderful relation of these things and wonderful applications of conditional probability and Bayes theorem. Okay. You just understand what is sensitivity, what is specificity. Sensitivity means what? The probability of diagnosing a positive case as positive. Specificity, probability of diagnosing a negative case as negative. Okay. Otherwise, it is an error. Okay. You can think about, you can connect this example to so many practical situations. It is actually a basis of another branch of statistics called decision theory. Okay. You consider a man. A man, he may be an innocent person, or he may be a criminal. Two possibilities. Okay, now he is arrested and he is in a court. And what about the judge has to do? The judge has to take the witness. Otherwise, he cannot take any decision. Suppose the witness is favorable for this innocent person, then he will be made free. Innocent person made free. But the witnesses were against him and he is sentenced to death. Sentenced to death. Actually, he is a criminal. Actually, he is a criminal and the witnesses were favorable to him. He made some payment to witnesses, etc. And he made free. A criminal is made free. And the witnesses were against him. That means they gave the correct witnesses and he was favorable. No, the judge here, witness correct, witness wrong. Okay, the correct witness means what? He is sentenced to death. He is sentenced to death. And the witness was wrong means what? He was free. He was free. Okay, there are this type of things we will see again in testing of problems. This is called type 1 error, type 2 error, etc. Okay. Now we will look into this problem. Okay. A blood test indicates the presence of a virus in 95% of the time when the virus is actually present. Okay. The same test indicates the presence of the same virus in 0.5% of the time when the virus is not present. Not present. 1% of the population, 1% of the population actually has the virus. Actually has the virus. Now, what is the probability? We have to find the probability that a person actually has a virus given that the test is positive. The test is positive. Is the question clear? A test will give 95% correct result when the virus is actually present. It will give a wrong result in 0.5% of the cases. 1% of the population has that virus. And a test was conducted and the test says that there is virus in the body. That's a result of the test. Then what is the probability that actually there is virus in the body? Actually there is virus in the body. In any of these type of problems, we can solve the problems easily if we define the events properly. If we define the events properly, otherwise we will be in trouble. Let us define the events. V is what? Presence of virus in the population. Presence of virus. It is given that 1% of the population is infected by the virus. Therefore, probability of virus is 1 by 100. And probability of non-virus is 99 by 100. Okay. We define V plus test result positive. Test result positive. What's the data given? The test result shows positive given that virus is in the body. If the virus is in the body, the test will also say that there is virus in the body in 95% of the cases. And V minus test result negative. Test result negative. Okay, then what is given here? Probability that there is virus given that there is no virus. There is no virus. If there is no virus, by mistake, the test will say that there is virus in 0.5% of the cases. 0.5% of the cases. 0.5% of cases. Now, what is the question? What is the probability that actually there is virus in my body, given that the test says that there is virus in the body? I can proceed further if one of you say that one of you answer the question whether the situation is clear or not. Is the situation clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Now you just use the definition. What is probability of V given V plus? That is probability that V intersection V plus divided by probability of V plus. What is probability of V intersection V plus? That is probability that V plus given V into probability of V divided by probability of V plus. And V plus given V, we know it is 95 by 100. Probability of V, no. Where is probability of V? 1 by 100. And probability of V plus, we don't know, that we have to find. Okay. Actually, I am running very fast. Okay. There are only two possibilities: disease present and disease absent. The test result can be positive. The test result can be positive when the disease is present, and in some cases, the test result may be positive when the disease is absent. Therefore, this portion is what? Disease present and the result is positive. This is what? Disease absent and the result is positive. Therefore, the result can be positive under two conditions. What are the two conditions? The disease is present. The disease is present and the test result is positive. Disease is present and the test result is positive. Sometimes the disease is absent and the test result is positive. Clear or not? This is called the total probability law. This is called the total probability law. That is, here A1 and A2 are events, and B can happen with A1 and A2. Then probability of B is probability of A1 intersection B plus probability of A2 intersection B. This total region is A1 intersection B plus probability of A2 intersection B. Then you use this formula. Yeah, this formula. Probability of A intersection B is probability of A given B into probability of B, and that is same as probability of B given A into probability of A. Okay. Now what is probability of V plus given V? It is 95 by 100. What is probability of V? 1 by 100. Don't simplify these things. We can cancel it finally. Probability of V plus given V complement. Probability of V plus given V complement. Weak complement means what? The disease is not present. Disease is not present. And the result says that disease is there. It is 0.5 by 100. And probability of weak complement is 99 by 100. That is 95 plus 5 into 9, 45. 5 into 9, 45 plus 4. 100 into 100. That is 0.5 by 144.5 by 100 into 100. That is what I told you. You need not simplify there. You can cancel this one. This is 95 by 144.5. 95 by 144.5. Okay, you please take your calculator or something like that. 95 divided by 144.5, that is equal to 0.67, 0.657. 0.657. That is, if the test result says positive, there is only 65% of the cases, or the probability is only 65% whether that the virus is actually in our body. That is why all the doctors advise to go for the second opinion or second test. Okay, they will not, if some test is done for cancer and detection of cancer, etc., with one test they will not stop. They may ask that this test is good, but we will go for that test also. Okay, like that. Now, what is probability of V complement given V plus? What will be that? Actually, no virus. Given the test result says that virus is there. You take it as a homework. You should get that probability as 1 minus this one. 1 minus this one. There is nothing to surprise there, because if the result says there is virus in our body, there are only two possibilities. Either there may be virus or there may be no virus. The one is complement of the other. Therefore, if the probability of B given B plus C is 0.657, then the probability that no virus B complement given B plus should be 1 minus 0.657. This is the application of Bayes theorem. Application of Bayes theorem in clinical trials. One more example I will say, and I will stop that discussion. Okay, in a mobile factory, there are three machines. 1, 2, and 3. Manufacturing mobiles. Okay, and 35% of the items are produced by machine 1. 25% of the items are produced by machine 2, and the remaining 40% of the items are produced by machine 3. From the past records, the quality control engineer knows that 2% of the items produced by machine 1 are defective. 1% of the items produced by machine 2 are defective. 3% of the items produced by machine 3 are defective. And the items are packed in small packets and sent to the market. On one fine Monday morning, the quality control engineer visited some malls in some city, and he selected one item. And he found that the selected item was defective. In that package, nothing is mentioned about the machine it manufactured. Nothing. Nokia phone, it is there. Samsung phone, it is there. Only that much. Okay, but the quality control engineer knows there are only 3 machines in his company making mobile phones, and these data are also available to him. And from the market, he took one phone, and he found that that phone was defective. Then he wants to know what is the probability that that phone was manufactured by machine 1, manufactured by machine 2, manufactured by machine 3. Is the question clear? Is the question clear? No answer is coming. Then you have to, as before I told you, you have defined events M1. The mobile is manufactured by machine 1. The mobile is manufactured by machine 1. M2. The mobile is manufactured by machine 2. M3. The mobile is manufactured by machine 3. D. The item is defective. Now we have defined the events properly. We have defined the events properly. Okay. We have defined the events properly. Now what is probability of M1? What is the probability that, the unconditional probability that the item was manufactured by machine 1? It is given that 35% of the items are manufactured by machine 1. Now, out of 100 items, 35 are manufactured by machine 1. And probability of M2 is equal to 25%. This should be 1. This should be 1. That is important. That should be important. These are the total items manufactured in the company. This by machine 1, this by machine 2, this by machine 3. No other possibilities. No other possibilities. Now, the quality control engineer knows from his record probability that the item is defective given that it was manufactured by machine 1. It is 2%. You may need it. Suppose you are a team manager for a project and there are 5 members in your team. As a team manager, you will know if some work is given to person 1, what is the chance that he will do it correctly. Okay, from past records you can count the number of mistakes he has made. Then you can find the probability that if that person has done work, therefore this is a probability that the errors can happen. Okay, therefore if some mistake has happened, what is the probability that it was done by team member 1, team member 2, etc. Probability of D given M2, it is 1 by 100. Probability of D given M3, it is 3 by 100. It is 3 by 100. These are given. Now what is the other thing? What is the other thing? The quality control engineer selected one item and unfortunately it was defective. Then what is the probability that it was manufactured by machine 1, it was manufactured by machine 2, it was manufactured by machine 3? Yeah. Now you are all familiar with the Chandrayaan project. Chandrayaan project. 10,000s of components are there in that satellite. Okay? Is it satellite or some other name? That's yeah. And the correct landing is possible only if all the components work correctly. Okay, now what is the result we have? It couldn't land successfully. Then that result is then what is the probability that it is due to that component of the project? What is the probability that it is due to the other program? What is the probability that it is due to other data, etc., etc. Now, if the scientists, if the group of the scientists can find these probabilities, then they can make improvement in the efficiency of the components, and next time they can try it in a better way. That's all finished. That's application. They are not just theoretical exercises. Okay, then probability of M1 given D, just write the formula. Probability of M1 intersection D divided by probability of D. What is probability of M1 given D? That is probability of D given M1 into probability of D by probability of D. This is what is called research. From known things, we are going to find unknown things. Probability of D given M1, you know from your experience. Probability of D, you know, probability of M1. Probability of M1, you know, 35 by 100. Probability of D, you have to find, okay, M1, M2, M3, D is here. D is here. Item is defective. The item can be defective if it is manufactured by machine 1, or it can be from machine 2, or it can be machine 3. Therefore, probability of D is, given that the item was manufactured by machine 1, okay, and it is defective, and probability that it was manufactured by machine 2, then it is defective, and it can be from the third machine. It can be from third machine. Probability of D given M1, 2 by 100, 35 by 100, 25 by 100, 1 by 100, 40 by 100, 3 by 100. That is 70 plus 25 plus 120 by 100 into 100. Don't simplify. We can cancel here. 70 plus 25, 95. 95 plus 120, 215 by 100 square. That is 70 by 215. 215. Okay? I am erasing this portion because I have already found that value. Okay? Then what is probability of M1 given D? M1 given D, sorry, M2 given D, that is probability of D given M2 into probability of D by, sorry, probability of M2 by probability of D. Probability of D given M2 is 1 by 100. Probability of M2 is 25 by 100. Probability of D is 215 by 100. Therefore, this is 25 by 215. Similarly, probability of M3 given D is equal to probability of D given M3 into probability of M3 by probability of D. Probability of D given M3 is 3 by 100. Probability of M3 is 40 by 100. And this is 215 by 100 square. Therefore, it is 120 by 2150. You add these things, 70 plus 25, 95 plus 120, 215 by 215, that is one. No other possibilities. If it is defective, then it should be either from M1 or M2 or M3. Hello? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Last example. Last example. Because the students may be interested in this example. In a multiple choice test, a student either knows the answer to a question or the student randomly guesses it. Okay, multiple choice question, because they are doing these things. If each question has 5 possible choices, 5 possible choices, okay, and the student knows the answer to a question with the probability P, with the probability P, okay, this is the probability that the student knows the answer, okay. Then if the answer was correct, if the answer selected was correct, what is the probability that the student actually knows the answer? Actually knows the answer given that the answer was correct. Given that he has answered correctly. Okay? That is, there are 5 choices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Then let K be the event. K be the event that he knows the answer. Let C be the event that correctly answered. Correctly answered. Okay? Now what is the thing happened? The teacher has seen a correct answer from the student. The teacher has seen the correct answer from the student. Then the teacher wants to know whether it was from his knowledge or whether it was from his guessing. Okay, we can guess also, no? We have done it many times. Okay, now probability of K intersection C by probability of C. This is probability that C given K into probability of K by probability of C. What is probability of C? What is the probability that the answer is correct? The answer can be correct if he knows the answer, or the answer can be correct if he guesses. If he guesses, okay, then what is probability of C given K? If he knows the answer, probability that he will answer correctly is 1. Correct. If I know the answer, I will make it correctly. Then what is PK? Probability of knowing the answer, P. It is given. Probability that the student knows the answer is P. And probability of C given K complement. If I don't know the answer, then what is the probability that it can be a correct answer? I am selecting one of the 5 choices randomly. One of the 5 choices randomly, and only one of the 5 choices can be correct. And the probability that I made a correct answer is only 1 by 5. Only 1 by 5. Okay? And I am guessing. When I will guess, when I don't know the answer, probability of knowing the answer is P. Therefore, it will be 1 minus probability of knowing the answer. Probability of C given K is 1. If I know the answer, I will make the answer correctly with the probability 1. And probability that I know the answer is P divided by P plus 1 by 5 into 1 minus P. We multiply by 5, 5P divided by 5P plus 1 minus P. Therefore, 5P by 1 plus 4P. Okay, you can generalize this question. If there are n choices, then the probability that the student knows the answer, if the answer is made correctly, is m into p divided by 1 plus m minus 1 into p. Okay, this is a probability. For example, if the probability that he knows the answer is 0.8, probability that if he knows the answer is 0.8, then 5 into 0.8 divided by 1 plus 4 into 0.8. That is 5 into 0.8 is 4 divided by 1 plus 0.32, 4 by 1. 1 plus 4 into p, 1 5p, 5 into 4, right? Divided by 5p, yeah. 5p plus 1 minus 4p. 4 into p, 3.2. 3.2. That is 1 plus 3, 4. 4. This is 3.2 plus 1, 4.2. 4 by 4.2. Okay, that is very close to 1 now. 4 by 4.2. 4 by 4.2. That is 0.95. 0.95. This is a probability that he answered correctly by knowing the correct answer. Okay, these are the applications of Bayes' theorem. Why I have spent this time on these things? There's a small chapter in our discussion called Bayesian inference. Bayesian inference. This is a basic of Bayesian inference. Okay, I will explain those things later when we discuss Bayesian inference. Okay. Now, if you want, you can take rest for 10 minutes. Now it is 11:26. You have to come at 11:36. Hello, Shaheen sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, please.
ഗിരീഷ് സാറ് ഹലോ, ഇപ്പൊ ഗ്യാപ്പാണ് ക്ലാസ്?
10 മിനിറ്റ് ഗ്യാപ്പ്.
ഓക്കെ 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 ഓക്കെ, താങ്ക് യു.
ഓക്കെ.